Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Dravenwho Films, where today we're going to be talking about my thoughts on the newest MCU movie, Spider-Man Leaves His House. So, as a Spider fan myself, I was pretty excited for this movie. Homecoming was absolutely fantastic. There wasn't really any Spider-Man in Endgame, but I had a Spider-Man feel. 2018, and I don't know. Homecoming was it 2017? I don't know. But we got Spider-Verse, the Spider-Man PS4 game, which was my game of the year over Smash Ultimate, so that's saying something. It was a good year for Spider-Man. So I was excited to see what the MCU's iteration with Homecoming, how it would expand off of it. And now we have Far From Home, and it's absolutely amazing. It's everything I wanted it to be, and more. But let's go ahead and get into specifics. Now, I do want to clarify. The first part of this video will be a spoiler-free review for all of those who have not seen it yet. That way you can, kind of hear my basic thoughts, go in, see it yourself, and then you should come back for the spoiler part of the review, which, again, I'll mark in the video. Don't worry, you won't get spoilers without, knowing it. Yeah, so this is your warning. If you want to go in completely blind, then I guess just click off this now. I don't even know why you'd click on it. But we're going to go into the spoiler-free territory first, and then we'll go into spoilers. So let's get right into my review of Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man Far From Home is a fantastic Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, and just a Spider-Man movie in general. Everything here is bigger than in Homecoming, which leads to some of the best moments in the film, while at the same time taking away some of the parts of what made Homecoming so special. We leave behind most of the small-scale superhero business, like in Homecoming, with the Vulture being so closely related to Peter's personal life and stuff. We leave that behind, but we gain some amazing settings around the world and some very impressive villains this time around. And even though most of the small-scale stuff has been removed, it is still small at its heart, keeping focus on Peter and his high school friends and rivals throughout the film. This helps a movie of this massive worldwide scale stay somewhat grounded in reality. And again, this film is not only a great Spider-Man story, but a great Peter Parker story as well, again, getting closer with his friends, you get to see his relationship struggles, and you also get to grapple with the loss of Tony Stark in the last film. So it's a really Peter Parker centered story. And this movie also does begin hinting at the future of the MCU as we move into Phase 4, which I appreciate, as I am still a little concerned about Marvel's future. I mean, their lineup ain't looking too spectacular from what we've heard. I don't really know much about the Eternals, and there's a Black Widow movie. I mean, she's dead, so I don't think I need a spoiler alert that, because everybody's seen Endgame. So, yeah, I don't really know. And there's some sort of kung fu guy movie, but the stuff that this movie sets up really gets me excited for the MCU's future. Besides just Guardians 3. So, before we get into the spoilers, go see the movie, as it is a blast the whole way through. I can tell you I thoroughly enjoyed it, and you probably will too. And then, of course, swing on back to this video to hear my final spoiler-filled thoughts. Alright, so let's get into spoilers. And, I mean, this movie is so good. They really nailed almost everything here. I'll start with the film's way of addressing the events of Endgame and the whole, snapping everybody back to life. The moment where everyone returned has been nicknamed the Blip, and we get to see the effects of the Blip on average people. Things like younger siblings now being older than their older siblings, charities forming around those displaced by the Blip, such as the charity Aunt May works for now, and, you get some jokes about, a wife running away and stuff. It's pretty funny. We also get to see how these people actually return from the snap, because they don't really show that in Endgame. They just start popping out of portals. And they basically just, pop back up in the same place they were in, like a reverse snap. such as the marching band reappearing in the middle of a basketball game, leading to a band member getting hit in the face with a basketball, which is, it's pretty funny. But it does lead to some questions like, what if you were in like a car or a plane for that matter? Would you just rematerialize in the middle of the air and then just like be hit by traffic? I don't even know. It leads to more questions, but it's fine. It's a fun movie. It's a fun bit. So we also get a low-budget tribute to the fallen heroes at the start of the film, with "My Heart Will Go On" playing with it, which immediately lets you know, we're in a happier film again, a more comedic tone, and it addresses the events of the last film. So yeah. Anyway, enough about the snap. Let's move on. So Peter and some of the high school class go on a trip across Europe for reasons I did not catch, or may not even be there. You get to see Peter struggle as he tries to tell MJ how he feels throughout the film while competing with a kid who didn't get snapped away, who is now their age. Peter's high school struggles feel real and relatable throughout the movie, and, as this is the most relatable hero for me and my fellow high schoolers. You also get to see Peter struggle with the loss of his mentor, Tony Stark. Tony gifted him his Edith AI sunglasses, Edith standing for "Even Dead, I'm the Hero," which is, such a Tony Stark thing to do. We also get introduced to Mysterio, who is my second favorite villain in all of Marvel Comics, right behind Ultron. Since the MCU butchered Ultron, I'll get to that in my Age of Ultron review, Mysterio is now my favorite villain in the MCU. And even though the trailers tried to trick you into thinking he's a hero, I knew he'd be behind the elementals and truly the villain. I think everybody kind of saw that coming. It'd be more surprising if he wasn't. But yeah, so he tricks Peter into giving him Edith, and that gives Mysterio the ability to pull off crazy illusions using holograms, which actually was Barf, first seen in Civil War, which Tony steals, names at that, and that's his whole motivation, is that he's just mad at Tony Stark, basically. So some of the scenes where he uses these holograms to fool Peter are visually amazing, and finally we actually get a heavy use of Spidey Sensor, as it's referred to in this film, Peter Tingle, that no films have really utilized much, even though for the first half of this movie it just mysteriously doesn't work. Aunt May just kind of throws a banana at him and he doesn't dodge it, and they just say, "Oh, it's kind of off today, isn't it?" And then for the final fight, "Oh, it's working again." So yeah, but it led to a really cool finale, so I can't really complain that much, and no other films have really used it greatly, so yeah. In the end, Peter defeats Mysterio after using his Spidey sense, but Mysterio dies due to one of the drones accidentally shooting him. In the end, Peter and MJ get together, with MJ, of course, knowing that, he's Spider-Man. And Ned and Betty's side relationship ends, which only began on the plane there, so pretty much a typical high school relationship. And that puts a nice happy ending on the film. And then the post-credits happen. Peter, as Spider-Man, finishes web-swinging MJ through New York, and just as they wrap up their date, a breaking news alert comes in. A clearly edited video shows Mysterio saying Spider-Man was behind the drones and illusions, and shows Spider-Man telling the drones to kill Mysterio. He then goes on to reveal to the world that Spider-Man is in fact Peter Parker, which is a huge deal for the future of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And then right after that, we get told the video was posted on the DailyBugle.net, and J. Jonah Jameson shows up. And they didn't hire somebody new. They went back to J.K. Simmons, which is freaking awesome. Every version of the character has been based on J.K. Simmons since, he played him in the Raimi movies. So, it's really good to see him returning. He's a fun character, and we get to see him yelling at the Spider-Menace once again. We then get Peter almost cussing like his aunt in the last movie before, the black cuts him off. Then we find out that the Nick Fury and Maria Hill of this movie were Skrulls the entire time, and that Nick Fury is just chilling in space with more Skrulls leading some sort of new space program, perhaps being SWORD, which is just basically Space Shield, so,
You gonna be the next Iron Man now?
Well, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy doing your jobs.
What? I'm kidding. Look, keep up the good work.
Because I am going on vacation.
So, in the end, I think I may have enjoyed this film more than Homecoming, but it is still really close, and probably only because I'm a Mysterio fanboy, to be honest, is why I like it more, but I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, again, I said it, I just went on like an hour-long rant about the movie and how great it is, so go and see it if you're, a Spider-Man fan. I mean, you have already seen it, hopefully, if you're going in the spoiler part of this. But, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it's probably one of my new favorite MCU movies. It's just that good. Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's one of my favorite heroes, and yeah, it's good to have another great Spider-Man movie, because, after, Amazing Spider-Man sucked, but we finally got good Spider-Man movies, and, yeah. So, thank you all for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to Draven Who Films for more awesome content, and to go check out our Discord server in the link below, where you can, vote on all sorts of polls to see what video will come next, and all that good stuff. Get all the announcements. Also, I apologize if you've heard any popping and clacking in the background or whatever. It's 4th of July at the time of this recording, so, yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.